I'd ask you to open up to Matthew chapter 16 for just a second. And while you do that, I'm going to ask you a question. If you've ever just given something away, eventually you just got to box some stuff up maybe and get it out of the house. And why do you do that? Because at least with us, it's because it's something that we don't want anymore, or we just don't need anymore. Those little bitty kid clothes are cute, but when you run out of little bitty kids, maybe you don't need the little bitty kid clothes anymore. So there's some of that going on, right? But either that is something you don't need or something that you don't want. And when I was thinking about just giving in general, I thought, a lot of giving, as it were, has been going on around us lately, this time of year. And usually when people give something, right, they have the hope within them that the recipient will like it. Yet we have this thing that's called regifting. Nobody would ever want to admit to that or confess to it, I'm sure, so I'm not going to ask you to do that tonight. But the fact remains, though, that the individual didn't need it, they already had something just like it, or they didn't want it, right? So, what are they going to do? They're going to return the gift in order to exchange it for something, at least in their mind, is better. And I was thinking about that, and this is what took me to Matthew chapter 16. So if you will, look down at verse 24. It says, Jesus said to his disciples, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited, if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?" What is a soul? I can't see it. I can't feel it. So, is this something do I need it? Is this something that I can exchange for something better? And I thought, well, if I change my mind later, a little after it's too late, right? What would I be willing to exchange for it? And I think that's the same question that Jesus just asked. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter what you would give in exchange for it, because no opportunity for such a thing is going to happen on that day. Not on that day. Not on the judgment day. It'd be too late. But here's what's nice. God has provided a means of exchange. You see that I've got the debt that I owe and the punishment that I deserve, and He's willing to take those in His process of exchange and give me grace in the place of one and mercy in the place of the other, by and through the blood of His Son. And I started thinking about us. When we go to exchange something, in our eyes, we're exchanging for something that's better. God's not like us. He exchanged a thing of greater value, His own Son, right, for that thing of lesser value, like myself. And that's kind of perplexing when you think about it that way. Jesus did say we're of more value than many sparrows, right? But we may not exactly equate to His only begotten and beloved Son. And that takes me back to Matthew 16 again, just to verse 27 there, when He talks about that day that's coming, when He's going to reward every man, every human, every person according to their works. Well, that begs the question, doesn't it? What is the nature of our works? What's He going to measure me with on that day? What would I offer in exchange, right? So do we have these, self-serving type of works that we hear Jesus address multiple times, like those who would lay up for themselves the treasures on earth rather than the ones that are in heaven? And those are what we're wanting to exchange. We're wanting to exchange those things now, and we're wanting to make deposits there and not here. And I asked myself the question, well, how are we supposed to do that? And he gives us the description. He gives us the picture, how we can lay up treasure for ourselves in heaven. That's the nature of exchange that we're wanting to set up. But that's on us each and every day and each and every moment that we have that opportunity. So the fact remains, there is nothing that we can possess, no amount of treasure, as it were, that will ever be sufficient to exchange for our soul. Because what our soul cost was the blood of the one perfect person, God's Son. So I would encourage you anyway today to accept God's offer while you can. The clock's still ticking, and we're all still here. And the Bible has shown me many times God is willing to wait until He knows that there's nobody left that's going to come to Him. He did it with Noah. He did it with the Amorites in the land of Canaan. Over and over again, we see that. We see that with Jonah when he goes to Nineveh. There were many there that were still deserving of God's mercy and patience and long-suffering. So today is the day of salvation. So if you need to make anything right with God tonight, I would ask you to do that while we stand, while we sing.